Hello, BookTube, and welcome to November and New Worlds November, a science fiction reading event created by the Bookish Bryants. And I will be one of the hosts, and it's a month-long reading of short-form science fiction. Short stories, novellas, and even short novels. A broad criteria, is that it will be 250 pages under. Now, it's not necessary you follow those guidelines. You can read anything you want, any length you want, and discuss it. However, it would be nice to sort of stay within the themes, the prompts, I guess you would say. One a week. The first week is aliens. Second week is robots slash AI, artificial intelligence. Third week is time travel, and the fourth week is post-apocalyptic slash dystopian. Now, for aliens, this is the first week, and the main reason for this video is sort of my TBR for the week, I suppose you would say. I'm going to split things up during the week, and I'll sort of say how this is the plan. Knock on wood, things go as planned for the whole month, and I'm devoting my book to film this month to science fiction and to the themes. But we'll deal with it week by week, because I might change things, and things I might add a story or two as I go along as well, during the week. So Tuesdays, the first thing I will do under my science fiction series of videos, I will do a potted history, a very short history, and I'll use history in quotation marks. It'll be an overview of aliens, or that theme for the week, in science fiction. It is in no way going to be exhaustive. It'll be quite general, but hopefully hitting a few high points throughout the science fiction writing. And then on Thursdays, I will deal with the two texts that barring the book to film. I won't be dealing with that on Thursday. I'll deal with that on Saturday. So there's another one. So it'll be Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then Mondays will be my TBR, a very quick one like this. This will be longer than probably others, but and so there's a short story and a novella that I'll be reading, and I'll be discussing on Thursday. And the novella is Clifford D. Simak's The Creator. It was published originally March and April 1935 in Marvel Tales of Science and Fantasy. This is an original copy. It was a very short-lived magazine that was started, and during the Depression, when a lot of science fiction and magazines in general were folding or didn't even get started. This one did, and it had a number, I'm not sure how many issues off the top of my head, but in this one it has The Creator, as I say, by Clifford Simak, and it's got an H.P. Lovecraft, a P. Schiller Miller, a John Benyon Harris, and that is John Wyndham, that's his original name, and Amelia Reynolds Long, and a George Allen England novella, or longer one called The Nebula of Death. So that's where it originally is. I've read the story out of here, but it's getting quite fragile, because I think last time I read it, I lost a bit of the top of the spine. So, and I brought a few things that I brought with me from Canada, and that was one of the sort of treasures that I had. I will be reading it in the Mammoth Book of Extreme Science Fiction, New Generation Far Future SF, Mind-Blowing Stories of Hard Science Fiction by Charles Stross, Robert Reed, Alistair Reynolds, Greg Bear, Hieronymus Allison, and many more, edited by Mike Ashley. And it's in here, and this was published in 2006 by Robinson Running Press. Running Press book publishers. And yeah, so I'll be reading it from here and discussing it on Thursday. And the other story that I'll be reading, I might add, as I say, something else, but I will be reading from the Big Book of Science Fiction, edited by Anne and Jeff Vandermeer. And this was published in 2000, not too long ago, 2016. So it's relatively new-ish. And I will be reading, let's see, I've got a bookmark here. Edmund Hamilton's The Star Stealers, and that was originally published in 1929. Trying to see here if I can see. 1929. I can't remember what it must have been in. It must have been in Amazing Stories or Air Wonder Stories, one of the Gernsback publications. But yeah, that'll be the second one, and I might read a few others depending on the time. And for my book to film, I'm going to take liberties with this because it's a well, no, actually, I'm not. I'll explain in a minute. I was going to say I could take liberties because it's not an actual full book, a novel. But it is, and it isn't. I'll explain. In 1938, in Astounding Science Fiction, a story appeared by a writer that was quite popular during the 30s called Don A. Stewart. And that was a pseudonym of John W. Campbell, who took over the editorship of said Astounding Science Fiction. Now, this is obviously a reprint. This was done in 1948, and it's a 75-page novelette, and that's how it was published. However, in his papers was found an original, the original edition, which is a novel, a very short novel. It adds 45 pages to it. This one is now 150 some pages in a larger format paperback. Fabulous cover. It's called Frozen Hell. So I'll be reading both and comparing both of those. And this was published by Wildside Press in 2019. So it's the first time, I believe, that was actually in print. Now, going back to the original collection that he put out in Who Goes There and other stories, John W. Campbell does an introduction here. And I'd like to read the beginning and then the very last line. It's, well, I'll read it and you'll see what I mean, and I'll comment slightly or briefly. He says, basically, science fiction is an effort to predict the future on the basis of known facts, called largely from present-day science laboratories. Within that broad field, and it is an exceedingly broad, indeed far more so in fact than even modern science fiction readers fully realize, there are many species, types, and families of story material. The dividing up the field of science fiction into classes and groups is a task literary dissectors are only starting on. I'm not an expert in that field. My division is purely the rule of thumb method of a storyteller, not the analytical method of a critic. To me, there are three broad types: the gadget story, the concept story, and the character story. In those broad groups, there will of course be more or less crossover between types, but these classifications serve to help an author get started building. And then he goes on for 3.5 pages, a little more than 3.5 pages of describing the stories in the book, and he ends, but no matter what the type, science fiction is fun. So, and no matter how you describe it and how you define it, science fiction is fun. And for my book to film, well, that is my book to film, sorry. The film the main one I'm going to do is the 1951, I believe it is, version of The Thing from Another World. And if I got time, I will watch and comment on the 1982 John Carpenter, The Thing, which I like both of them. There is a third one that I believe is supposed to be a prequel. I know nothing about it other than what somebody told me that's a bit of a prequel, but I've never seen it. So I won't be commenting on that at all because I don't have the film and I won't be watching it, obviously. This doesn't, this one has both films in. And I originally had this one because I wanted the original one, but then later at some point last year I decided, well, I'd like to have the John Carpenter one as well. And I looked around and found this is the cheapest one with the same disc in as the single Blu-ray. So I figured, well, I'll just buy it again because it's cheaper to get the 1982 version. Now I think, well, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look to see if for the original one, if the extras are the same as on this. It'd be nice if there's some difference, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. There is no. I really love these BFI guides, the film guides. They're short. They're like a long essay. They're anywhere from 80 to 125 pages long. But sadly, there isn't one, as far as I can tell, or if there was, it's long out of print and I can't find it, of the original The Thing. But they did do one for the 1982 version by Ann Bilson, The Thing, BFI Film Classics. Not the greatest of covers, but oh well. It's kind of neat, like if you look closely at it. But this was published. Originally 1997. Oh, this is the new edition, 2021. So, didn't realize it was. I only got it about 4 or 5 months ago, I think. Very cheap. So yeah. So if I get time, I will dip into this. I'm not sure if I'll read it fully, because my main emphasis is going to be the original film. And I will talk maybe about some differences between the two. So that is the first week of New Worlds November. Next Monday, I will do another video such as this for robots and AI. And until then, or until tomorrow, I will say goodbye, and I'll be back, as I say, tomorrow with a brief potted history of aliens in science fiction. Stay tuned. Keep watching the skies.